Dear Lil Nas X, there is no doubt in my mind that you are talented, but you need to show us the talent. Let's talk about it. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. What's going on, you all? I want to talk about Lil Nas X. I want to talk about Lil Nas X in this era and what is going on. And let me just say this is not a video to drag Lil Nas X. I want to have a real conversation, and it's something I've been thinking about for the last year. Honestly, the last 6 months, and I've been talking to friends about it and other queer artists and stuff who I am cool with. And I want to have a real conversation about what is going on with Lil Nas X and the music, because I'm becoming concerned. I am a fan of Lil Nas X. I enjoy his music. I thought his album was brilliant. I still play it to this day. Great body of work. I enjoyed it. It was a moment. I'm thankful to be able to share space with him in 2021 and interview him about his project and the music video that had the girls talking like for months. Like, everybody was talking and gagging, and the album did not disappoint. I feel there's a lot of things happening right now with Lil Nas X, and I'm seeing it as a fellow black queer man to another black queer man. Lil Nas X is needing to be the representation for all of the things that we have been denied. We've not seen many black queer artists be able to be authentically themselves. We have not seen that. We've seen artists, who may have been queer or may have been gay, but never have talked about it publicly. Lil Nas X was one who some folks knew, but he did not talk about it until the fame had came. After people had already fell in love with him, he came out later on. And I don't blame him for doing that, because that's the industry. The industry has never been supportive of black folks, let alone black queer folks and black femme folks, specifically dark-skinned folks. We can get into it and keep going, but I did appreciate him for, coming out. He didn't have to, he didn't owe that to anybody, but I did appreciate him for showing up and saying, hey, this is what it is. And I felt like he has a lot of us riding on him. And I feel it. I feel it because you are the only one. There are not any other, mainstream queer artists on your level. So you feel like you have to be representation for all of them. So I know that can be a lot. And the reason why I'm doing this video, and the reason why I felt compelled to talk about it, one, I care about him as another black gay man, and I also enjoy his music. But what made me really get in front of the camera and talk about him and this era and what is going on with his music is, after I watched this documentary, I had a lot of questions. So he did a documentary on HBO, Max, and it was about his tour and a little bit of his life. We got a chance to see some of his family. And the documentary I was told about years ago. Someone told me that he was working on a documentary a while back, and I was very excited about it. And I really thought that this documentary was going to be something to see. I thought that this documentary is going to give us things that we did not know, give us a peek inside of this very creative, out of control black queer person from Georgia, from down south. And when I watched this documentary, it gave me, I'll be completely honest, it gave me that this was for white consumption. It gave me that this was for older white men, older white gay men, to feel as though they're progressive, or, this was something for them. This documentary was not for black queer folks. it was not for black queer folks. And I'm sorry for, you know, saying that to and offending folks who worked tirelessly on this documentary and put everything. But I feel as though Hollywood does this thing when they get any type of blackness, they water it down for white consumption. And I think that is the thing that is a consistent thing that is happening to Lil Nas X. That it's very black, but in order to appeal to this demographic, he has to water down some stuff. And that is watering down some of the talent. And the documentary was the theme that is consistent with the music we are getting that he's been putting out lately. So in this documentary, we're following Lil Nas X during the tour, which I went, you know, and saw with some friends, which was really good. I enjoyed this tour. I enjoyed the concert when he came to Atlanta. But this documentary, all we're seeing is snippets of him with his family, what it's like him practicing and you know, being a little bit open about not being that good with dancing, but, you know, focusing on like perfecting it to the best of his ability to perform. And the documentary lacked so much humanity. Like, it lacked so much of Lil Nas X, even though it was about him and his tour. A lot of people were saying he's too young, too fresh to have a documentary. The reason why Lil Nas X deserved a documentary is because there are not a lot of artists like him. There are not many artists like him. And the one big thing about Lil Nas X that folks keep talking about is the fact that he's black and he's gay. We don't see any of that in the documentary. And which is not surprising considering that it was put on Max. This documentary should have been going viral from clips, people watching it. First of all, why are we putting this on HBO Max? The demographic for HBO Max is for 25 to 30-year-olds, more 35 on up. It's for me. And Lil Nas X's biggest audience are young folks, young people, 19 to 22. Big audience with young folks. Why is this being put on HBO? Young people don't have HBO like that. First of all, Euphoria is not on. All of the shows that appeal that young folks were watching are not even on there anymore. Legendary is not even on there anymore. So there's nothing causing young folks to even still pay for HBO right now to watch it. Euphoria is not. I asked a couple young folks, they said no, Euphoria is not on, Game of Thrones is not on. I'm not sure why I don't have the subscription. It should have been on Netflix or Hulu. Period. And I feel like it being on HBO serves because the documentary is giving old, boring, white gay, or like white gay. It was just giving that. I don't know. I think that's why we kept seeing these two older white gay men who were a couple. It's no shade. Y'all have Elton John. Y'all have Elton John. Y'all have other folks. This should have been black as fuck. This should have been like some ballroom shit. This should have been giving Paris is Burning type of shit. We should have went in depth about Lil Nas X being black and gay, his struggle with his family. We talked about that a little bit. Whoever is responsible, the director or whoever, the producers, y'all did not pull a moment that was comfortable enough for Lil Nas X to be uncomfortable, for us to feel connected to him in this story. The first 10 minutes of it, I was like, I don't know what we're doing. The first 10, 15 minutes of this documentary, I had already checked out. And I love documentaries. My friends know I love documentaries down. I will watch all types of documentaries, period. One of my favorite docuseries is Explained on Netflix. I love it. They break down stuff and it's just my stuff. And I had to go and research. I was like, oh my gosh, this documentary has been on 10, 12 minutes and I'm not sold. And I'm going and looking what makes a good documentary. And first thing that comes up, the documentary is supposed to pull in an individual and an audience within the first 10, 15 minutes. And I understand that, oh, it's focusing on the tour. no shade. Lil Nas X this is his first tour. Nobody really cares about the tour like that, to be honest. It's the first tour. We should have had elements of it, but it should have been the humanity of him being black and gay and trying to find himself while also being in front of everybody. You all wasted an opportunity to sell him as a person that you want to believe in, and we prepare ourselves for this album and him changing, this metamorphosis that is going on, that the Lil Nas X that was in 2021, now we're going to see a different form of him in 2024. Y'all have butterflies and all these things. All these things are going, and it's just, we're not seeing the ugliness. The ugliness of what he's been through. The beginning of the documentary should have been how we got introduced to him. It should have been the first 2 minutes. The clip that you all had in there where he is sharing, before he went viral and stuff, that should have been the start, and then y'all should have took it back. You should have gotten to the childhood. You should have gotten to talking to his teachers. Like the teachers and folks who went to school with him should have been talking about, they should have been confessionals about him. I get that y'all went into a different route or whatever, and that's the reason why it flopped. I don't know if it flopped. I feel like it flopped. I don't know for 100% fact that it flopped because I don't see the data, but I'm not seeing any viral clips. I'm not seeing any conversations about it on social media. I'm not seeing any hype. People might have watched it, but it didn't move. This is the biggest social media artist that we've seen in a while, like took over social media. There was a whole push behind him with Old Town Road. People should have been posting reactions and stuff to the documentary. It should have been big conversations about it. Nothing. Because there was nothing in there that we already didn't know. We've heard the story. He's a big, like, influencer-esque person. We see him talking. We've seen him, do interviews, and honestly, no shade, even some of the interviews and podcasts he's done, they've been terrible. Nobody has been able to pull the stuff out of him. Y'all have him doing podcasts and stuff with folks. Just because they have 2 million followers or 100, 200,000 doesn't mean anything. Are they in touch with the culture? Are they in touch with blackness? Because that is what's going to win. Y'all want him to be mainstream, and by that way, y'all are making him be mainstream when he's not mainstream. Y'all making him do things and appear to something that he's not. And it did not work in this documentary. It did not work. We didn't see anything different about him. We didn't see him be vulnerable. We didn't see him talking about his experiences with his family now that he is coined up. We should have went in depth a little bit about that. I saw a genuine switch when Lil Nas X was around his friends and stuff. He was very comfortable. When he got around his family, he turned down his queerness. And that's something that a lot of black queer people can relate to. Having to tone down to survive. And if there was a producer or somebody working on it who knew about the life of that, they would have pulled it out. No one understood it, so y'all were not able to pull it out. I'm watching the documentary, waiting for the moment for me to be like, oh my gosh, I need to share this, and this moment, oh my gosh, had that question been asked, hey, we've noticed that, you were uncomfortable. Y'all talked about it a little bit, you kind of toned it, and he brought it up, but y'all didn't get into it in depth. Like, why is there a switch? Why are you so concerned about the skirt and stuff? Why is that? Even the skirt and stuff, he toned down himself. Why would he get more into conversation about, his family being nicer to him that he's coined? This is what a documentary is. It's supposed to be gritty. It's supposed to be moments where even the person who the subject is uncomfortable. They don't want to talk about it. I'll give you a perfect example. Bend It Like Beckham, the documentary on Netflix, brilliant. Watched all of it. There was a moment where he had to talk about the allegation of him cheating on his wife. And the way he talked about it, he didn't say he cheated, but you felt the humanity in him as his regret of doing whatever he did to hurt his wife. That's the moment. That's the moment that people are posting online and it's going viral, like, oh shit, makes everybody else want to watch. People who don't even give a fuck about soccer or football or what, they're now engaged because of this human moment, because we all can relate to having a moment where you're uncomfortable about something you did and you have to right a wrong. That's what we want to see. We didn't see that in this. This gave a YouTube vlog, the day in the life, get ready with me as I go on a tour, and it just flopped. It just flopped. It just flopped. The only human moment we got is him talking about him not being a good dancer. That's it. But I'm not gonna spend the whole time talking about the documentary because I want to move on and I want to talk about the music and what is going on. The music that we've been getting has been the same era of 2021. And we need to see you grow as an artist. We need to see you have grown as a butterfly. You have transitioned. You keep talking about transitions, all that, but we're still stuck in the era of 2021. There's a way to pull elements of your past, your 2021 era and the last album, sprinkling it in. There's a way to reference it. The visuals for the music video that we got, you're referencing the Nike shoe situation, the playing basketball with the devil, like da-da-da. We could have transitioned to something else and seen the growth as an artist. But now we're still seeing the Lil Nas X that is very playful, that is a troll online and all the other stuff. Stuff that worked in 2021 that is not going to work in 2024. It's just not. We don't want to see that same stuff no more. We have grown. The audience has grown. It's not 2021. That was a year, you know, in the pandemic. A year later in the pandemic. We're not in that space anymore. We're not in that space. We're 3 years older. Some folks who were in high school are now in college now. Some folks who were in college are now, you know, doing other things in their career. People are out of relationships and stuff. Time has passed, but we still are looking at 2021. And we don't like trendy stuff. Trendy does not last forever. And what we're seeing in this era in the music video is 2021. There's a way to reference it, but now it's giving goofy and playful, and we can't take it serious. We can't take you serious as an artist because we're being reminded of all the silliness that you did when we first met you, and we're not seeing any growth. It's like, you know, seeing somebody who you went to high school with still be silly and goofy, and we 4 years out of high school, it's like, girl, like, all right, we don't do that no more. Like, we need to grow up. We need to see that. You're still branding yourself as Montero 2021 artist. And it's like, we need to see a different version of yourself, of the music, and we're not. Jay Christ, it just wasn't giving. The visuals, cute, budget, it didn't pull us in. Yes, it has some conversations about religion, all that other stuff. We've had that conversation. And the conversation can't be serious because you're being very playful with it. And there's nothing wrong with being playful and talking about religion. All artists do it. Everybody does it. Religion is all around us every day. So we can't escape that. So I don't blame artists for playing with it and talking about it. I think it's good because it makes us question, what is this we're doing? I mean, we see that in movies and all like forms of media, like it's being referenced. I mean, even art, paintings and stuff. It's just, it is what it is. But we're still seeing the 2021 troll of Lil Nas X, and we're not seeing him progress as an artist. Jay Christ, it reminded us of the troll of Lil Nas X. You having these folks dress up as Mariah Carey and other celebrities, folks pretending to be celebrities on the red carpet. You're bringing back old wounds of folks talking about how you're playful with religion. And for what? What story are you telling us? If you're talking about religion, what are you saying? And people have deconstructed the lyrics and what they mean as far as like religion and theology, but the overall public don't get it. The overall general public just, it's not reaching us. And I think that's because the lyrics could be better. And we want to see you grow as an artist. You'll give us songs like J. Christ, full production, all of these things, and then you'll give us a snippet of Down South Hoes, and we've not got the single yet. You'll give us snippets of things that sound good, because I keep hearing folks say, oh, this sounds good, but it never gets released. We never hear it, and I feel like that you're releasing these snippets to get a gauge of if we like the music, if it's cute. Believe in your stuff and put it out. When I get in front of this camera, I do my video and I post it. If people like it, if it's not well received, it is what it is, but I know that I enjoyed it. Every once in a while, there might be a video that I put out, it's like, oh, I really didn't like that, because we're all critical of our work. Like, folks who are creative and do this stuff are their worst critics, period. But you have to believe it enough to put it out. And I feel like you're nervous about it. You're nervous about it, and we're seeing it. How you responded to the criticism of J. Christ was the most human we've seen in a minute. And it was hard for folks to even consume that, because they were like, is he playing? Is he trolling? And that's the issue. Because you have trolled and played so much, the thing that made you big is now the thing that is hindering you to progress to the next stage. I feel like that's what's going on. So now we have to work on separating Lil Nas X, the artist, from the troll. Which means you have to leave that era behind you. Everything about that era has to be left. It's time to grow up. And not saying you have to grow up, you need to mature, but the music needs to grow up with you. And maybe it is growing with you. Maybe you are working on music that is mature. Maybe the label is not interested in it. Maybe the label is not pushing it because they don't think it's going to sell. And that is the bad side of signing with a label, because the label is going to tell you, hey, this is what we want to see. This is the stuff that's selling. We don't care about all that. And it happens. The record label who he signed to, they've spent a lot of money, considering the situation that happened with 9 Inch Nails and how, Old Town Road was a sample of that. So he owed him some stuff, like he owes them. So I want to see some music that is a mature version of Lil Nas X. I want you to talk about your experiences. You're doing that in these snippets, but it's not being posted. If you post one more snippet of Down South Hoes and add another artist, whatever, and you don't release the song, I'm gonna have a problem. Because people were interested in hearing that song a couple years ago, but now it's nowhere out. Like, nowhere out. We should have heard it. You should have put it out. You're putting out other stuff. The song you did with, what is it, NBA Youngboy, whatever. That song did not do that much numbers. It wasn't that good. You did the Santa Claus song too or whatever. It's just, you're putting out all these other like poppy sounds, and it's just not doing much for us. I had a conversation with a friend who is an artist as well, a queer artist, and he talked about his experiences, of having to be, aware. Like, if I'm singing about my feelings and stuff and love, I'm going to name that like it's a man, like it's a man, like it is what it is. But I also don't want to be put into the box of just being a gay artist, because that does hinder. Like people associate you with other folks who, do other things. And nothing is wrong with artists who are gay, who are flamboyant, who are doing, what the female rappers are doing, all that other stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like folks hate femininity so much, they do not like it on men and all the other stuff. So that's a whole nother conversation. And they try to group you with that. But you have to believe in the music that you're putting out. You have to believe in what you are working on. And even if folks are not listening to it, just believe that you did what you loved. That's important. We gotta pay bills. Trust me, I get it. But when it comes to creativity, if you don't love what you are doing and what you're putting out, you're gonna hate yourself. And I'm not saying that's what Lil Nas X is experiencing, but I feel like that if he is not careful, he will be put in that. There was a recent song that he posted a snippet of on TikTok, and he had this little thing on his head or whatever, and it was good. Like some folks didn't like it. I feel like people don't want to like it because the playful stuff is still there. Like they're still focused on 2021 Lil Nas X, and it's just like, girl, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. But you're gonna have to remind these girls over and over again that you are a different artist. It's gonna get annoying, but you're gonna have to beat the allegations. You're gonna have to work on beating the allegations. And that means not putting out music anymore like J. Christ. No more of those visuals, no more. We don't want Montero, Call Me By Your Name 2024. We've already been through that era. We don't wanna go through that era again. It was a good era, really, really good era. But if you're going to reference music from 2021 that you have put out, it has to be more detailed. Now, I'm not the music girl. When it comes to making beats in the studio with Candy and Nene Leakes, that's not my thing. But there are some folks who know how to do that and do that very, very well. And you need to be studying with them. You need to be talking to your Kalanis, your Brandies, even Destin Conrad, who I have never heard of. I recognize him from social media going viral on Vine, but the difference between his music and his online presence is completely opposite. I can take him serious as an artist and still realize that this is Destin Conrad, who is, playful and goofy, but the music I take serious. I take it serious, and I feel like Lil Nas X, I know for a fact he is serious because we've seen videos of him listening to beats and working on stuff. We need to see that. We need to see that. We need to see serious Lil Nas X. That is what's missing. We've seen playful Lil Nas X. Even going back to the documentary, there was a time that you went to the ball. That should have been posted more in the documentary. Ballroom should have been more of a conversation. You're referencing ballroom on your tour. They were doing Vogue and stuff and ballroom style of dance on the tour. We should have talked about that a little bit more. We did not do that. We're seeing in the documentary like playful moments, and I get it, like even like the little puppy situation, the stuffed animal is cute, it's fun, but it still goes back and reference you being 2021 troll Lil Nas X. And I'm not saying, I don't want to come off like homeboy from Game of Thrones, kill the boy, John. Kill the boy and let the man live. But girl, you don't have to kill him. I don't want you to him off, but I want you to let him go. And I feel like once you start letting that go, people will take you more serious. And I feel like that's the issue. I feel like I'm seeing you be insecure about your music because you're not sure what direction to go in, because you're still stuck in what you think everyone wants and what you want to actually do. You might flop. The next album might not do that well. Might not do as well as the last one. But if you are really believing in what you are putting out, can't nobody tell you shit. Period. Because maybe 2-3 years from now, people go back and like, oh, the album is kind of busting. You need to be surrounding yourself with folks who are doing that, like SZA. Surround yourself around folks who are taking music serious. Not saying that you are not, but we need to see you in the studio working with these folks. We don't need to see any more of the, the drunk escapades and you showing up with the clubs and New York and Atlanta and LA. We've seen that. We need to see you in the woods for 2 months in your bag writing. We need to see you drinking elderflower or whatever, sweet tea, and you playing flutes with homeboy from Outkast. Y'all gonna drag because I can't think of his name right now. But yes, you need to be on that stuff. You need to be surrounded by that energy and writing and getting into it because I wanna see it. Like, no shade, you're the only black mainstream queer artist who talks to black men who are interested in dating black men. I want you to win. Because I can't listen to these other girls sing about and rap about being with snow bunnies. I cannot. I can't listen to the snow bunny chasers no more. I cannot. Frank Ocean is the only one I will allow. But everybody else, they got to get the chop. And speaking of chop, I've seen you have cutting off your hair. And I feel like that is the start of a new Lil Nas X. And we need to see that. This new era, focus on it. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. And serious doesn't mean being a student. It doesn't mean that. But show us that there is a mature version of you in 2024 that is ready to take a chance on different sounds and a different version of you and your music. That's what we want to see. This is what we want to see, period. So get in your bag. I could talk more. I could discuss this a little bit more, but I don't want to hound too bad. But I hope that this message does resonate with you. I hope a lot of other people take what I'm saying and understand it. And let's uplift Lil Nas X because I feel like he has the talent. The talent is most definitely there. We're just not seeing it. Doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. You just haven't got there yet. And I feel like you can with this new era. That's all I got. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about this in the comments. Let me know what you think about Lil Nas X and his new era, his new music. And let me know. Be respectful in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.